Hey guys, this is Hayes with CheatSheetPros.com. Today is November 17th, and we've got a football game tonight, and we are going to build a same game parlay. And I'm going to do it as quickly as possible because I know some of these videos kind of drag on. So when you open up the when you open up the NFL cheat sheet this week, you noticed another tab here on the bottom called SGP. This is for same game parlays, and what it is we have each player from each team. We pull the quarterbacks, the two running backs, top three wide receivers, and the tight end, and you can see their game logs for the last 7 weeks and their current projection all right in front of you, so you can build a quick same game parlay. These have been a lot of fun. It took me a long time to build this, so have a lot of fun with it. As always, click in the bottom here. You get the drop down. You can scroll through all the games, but right now we're going to focus on the Titans and Packers that play tonight. So I can't get the same game parlay to load on my browser on my desktop, so I do a lot of that from my phone, so I do apologize. I will be looking through this on my phone. So looking through this, one of the things that I want to do is go through, look at the projection, and look what they've done recently. So to give you an example, Aaron Rodgers passing yards, you can go anywhere from 200 to 300. So it's 200, 225, 250, 275, 300. You can pick over or under each one of those numbers and mix and match different leagues. Team totals, game totals, points totals, halves, quarters, everything for same game parlays. So an example for Aaron Rodgers. So you can take, I started mine off with over 200 passing yards. So it's an alt total. It's in the minus 320 range. But you can see he's been over, under. So he's been over it in 6 of 7 games. He's projected at 267 tonight. So going over 200 seems fairly safe. And then you can see the one time that he did miss it, he had 194, so he only missed it by 6 yards, so he was right there. So I like going over. If you want to flip it, you could also say under 300 passing yards, and it's a little bit more juice. I think it's minus 370, minus 380, 390, somewhere in there. But you can see he's never been close. Well, I take that back. Week 9, he had 291 against Detroit. But other than that game, he hasn't even been close to the 300-yard mark, so you could start one off that way. Looking at his passing touchdowns, 1+ is a good leg to add. He's had 1+ in each of the last 7 games. He's projected at almost 2 tonight. If you want to take 2+, you can generate plus money, and he's had 3, 2, 2, 2, 2 in 5 of the last 7 games. So that's kind of what I like to do, is look at the projections. Projections are just averages, so don't put a lot of weight in them. And then flip down here and look at the game logs. What have they done recently? You can get crazy and go under 275 passing yards. That seems pretty safe, and you can get a much better line there. So let's go ahead and start this first. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do a 6-leg parlay, so that'll give me a 40% boost on DK. So I'm going to take some shots, but then I'm going to go fairly safe. So this one, I'm going to start off with Aaron Rodgers under 300 passing yards. It's actually under 299.5. Now, the reason I went with that, I like going over 200 and under 300, but you can see he's a lot closer to just sliding over this 200, like he's over this by 24, over by 3 yards, over by 46, 22, 51. But if you go under 300, he's been under that 7 times in a row. He's only been close to it once, but here he's been under it by 76 yards, 97 yards, over 100 yards, 54 yards. So I feel like I've got a lot more wiggle room at under 300. So that's how I'm going to start off my same game parlay. Tannehill, I dug through this. There's not a lot there. He's kind of all over the place. I mean, 181, 137, 255. I don't even know what to expect from Tannehill at this point. So we know Derrick Henry is going to be the biggest part of the offense. And when we flip over here to the stacks tab, one of the things that we see is allowed yards per rush attempt, my absolute number one favorite stat to look at when looking at a running back. You can, oh shit, that's the wrong team. Let me flip that back over here. So looking at this, you can see here that Tennessee's pretty tough against the run. 3.9 yards per carry, third best in the NFL. But the Packers, 4.8, 26th in the NFL. So Derrick Henry should have plenty of room to run tonight. So when we're looking at Derrick Henry, he's projected at 95 rush yards. And you can see here, he had this one game against Denver where he only had 53. But other than that, 115, 219, 128, 102, and 114. And just a quick FYI, this minus 99, that is a bye week. I had to put a numerical value in there that would not equal any game, so hopefully nobody has 99 rushing yards or 99 passing yards in a game. But if you see the minus 99, that's just a bye week. As always, here in the price picks tab, you can see the purple. I just made it a minus 99 with a light blue, so you can see that is a bye week. Oh, I did put it up there. I just forgot to put it on the SGP, the same game parlay tab. So looking at this, you can take over 80 yards is where I'm going. Over 80 yards is a fair number. He's been over that 6 of the last 7 games, 5 of the last 6 games, 5 of the last 6 because that's a bye. And then he missed this by 30 yards, but again, Denver's a really tough run defense. The Packers are not, so I like Derrick Henry to go over 79.5 rushing yards or 80 or more if you're looking at it on your book. The next level up is 105, and that's getting a little bit closer. You can see he barely went over here. He got over it here, barely, or went under it here, and barely went over it. So I want a safe leg to put in here. I'll take my shots elsewhere. Derrick Henry, 80 rushing yards feels fair, so that's going to be leg number 2. So just to recap, we have Aaron Rodgers under 300 passing yards, Derrick Henry over 80 rushing yards. Now, one of the things you can also do is add in team totals. So one of the things that I do, so I come in here to the stacks tab and I look at the game log. So you can look at it, and other than this game against Detroit where they absolutely sucked, you can see they've scored 21, 17, 31, and then Tennessee, they're about 2 touchdowns per game across the board. And then with the amount of yards Green Bay's given up a carry, I don't mind Tennessee over 1.5 touchdowns or whatever their minimum points is. The Packers should be able to score. They're playing much better. They are at home. They're coming off of a game against a tough Dallas defense where they put up 31 points. But just for safe legs, I took Tennessee over 0.5 touchdowns and Packers over 0.5 touchdowns. I didn't get tricky. If you want to get a higher payout, which right before the game, I usually reserve about 15 minutes and I go crazy and do like a 20-legger with all kinds of stupid shit to generate some ridiculous amount of money that I'll never win, but it's a lot of fun. If I was going to do that, I would take, over the half a touchdown each team in the first half and then over 1.5 each team for the game, something like that to generate another 4 legs in your parlay. But again, this one I'm going to do fairly safe for the most part. It's just going to be a 1-unit risk. So I have Packers over 0.5 touchdown, Titans over 0.5 touchdown. So if they each score a touchdown in the first quarter, those legs are done. You're good to go. Move on down the road. So again, to recap, we have Rodgers under 300 passing yards, Derrick Henry over 80 yards, each team to score a touchdown. That is 4 legs. The next leg I'm going to go with is a receiving prop. And I'm going to go over here to Allen Lazard. I prefer Lazard over Watson. Now, looking at his recent yardages, he's projected at 67, and I believe Romeo Doubs is still banged up. He's got 45, 87, 55, 76, 35 on 116, so fairly consistent. So the leg I'm adding here is just Allen Lazard over 29.5 receiving yards. So Allen Lazard 30 yards. If he catches one ball for 30 yards, we're done. We hit that leg, we can go away. Now, the reason I'm not doing Watson is he had four catches for 107 last week, but 2 of those were long 80. One was an 80-yard touchdown. They were long breakaway touchdowns. To me, that's a lot more risk because when you look at his other games, he's only got 24, 12, 1, and 8. Now, Doubs is out, so yes, he should probably do better. I just don't feel really good with it. I think Lazard is more the consistently over 30, so regardless of if Watson goes over or not, I feel like Lazard can do it. So leg number 5 is Allen Lazard over 30 yards. Now, if you want to stop there and plug it in, I love that. That feels safe. However, I'm going to take a shot because I want to use my boost and generate some money. Aaron Jones is the most consistent out of these guys. Now, if you want an extra leg, I did not add it to this one. Dillon over 30 rush yards feels pretty safe. He's got 65, 35, 54, 15, 41, 34, 73. So he's at least 30 rush yards and, about 8 to 10 attempts every game. He's not going to blow up, but that's going to give you something. So if you want to add a leg there, that will be in my long shot dart I do right before the game. But the other consistent one I'm going to use for my boost is I'm going to take Aaron Jones. Now, this is a tough matchup. Tennessee only gives up 60, 65, 70 rush yards per game, so they do not give up a lot. But neither did Dallas and neither did Buffalo. And look what he did. When the Packers give him the rock, 20 rushes, 143 yards. 24 rushes, 138 yards. He has the ability to go nuts. Now in these games where he only got 8 or 9 catches, he had 19, 23, and 25. So he could completely shit the bed and do nothing. Well, that's perfectly fine because I'm getting odds on my side. So 2 of the last 3, they've really pounded him here, and they could do the same thing tonight. They're at home. They really need to win this game. Aaron Jones should get 20 touches. So the leg that I'm going to take for the last leg for my dart is going to be Aaron Jones over 79.5 yards. And this one is, I believe, +3. Let me pull it up here. I think it was +320 when I was looking at this. Yes, so you can take him over 40 yards for -340. And then it jumps every 10, but you can go over 79.5 yards +295. It was +300. It's already dropped to +295. So I love doing that. I think that's a good spot to take a shot at. So just to recap, Aaron Rodgers under 300 passing yards. Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, both over 79.5 rush yards. Lazard over 30 receiving yards. Each team to score a touchdown. And this pays +800. So this pays 8-1. And then if you put your daily boost on it, it gave me a 40% boost. So it pays +1120. So 1 unit would pay 11.2 units. So that's what I'm going with tonight for my safer parlay. But again, when you open up the NBA cheat sheet, just have fun with this thing. It took me forever to build this. I want you guys to use it, have fun with it. If you can do player prop same game parlays, this should save you a ton of time. For example, I would not have touched Dylan over 30 rush yards because I had no idea what he was doing, but right here in front of me is his game logs, and he's doing it almost every single game. He's not crushing it, but he's getting over there. And then I glance up here at Aaron Jones, and I'm like, okay, what's the max we can do on him? I figured it would be 99 yards, but it was 79, and it's +300. Okay, I'll throw that leg in there. He's done it in 2 of the last 3 games. Tough matchup. And then you go over here to Lazard, and you look at his, his minimum was 30 receiving yards. He's consistently doing that, no problem. And then I shied away from Watson, although I do think he can go over that tonight. I just don't want to put my money on it. But feel free to bet yours. And then looking at Henry rushing yards, I know he's been doing well, but I didn't know how well. So you can look here and say, okay, 105 rush yards, he's going to go over that, but he's been close to that. So I'm going to drop down and take over 80 rush yards. And the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Looking at just off the top of your head over the last 7 weeks, you don't really know how many yards he's doing per game. You see red zone, you look at some stats, you follow fantasy. But to actually look at it and say, okay, well, is he going to go over 199? I mean, it sounds decent. But if you look at it, yeah, he's probably going to have 200 passing yards. That feels pretty fair. But he has not hit 300 in 7 games, so I have a little bit more leeway there. So that combined with the Derrick Henry running the clock down and pounding the rock, and then Aaron Jones likely getting 20 touches, that leads me to an Aaron Jones under 300, lower scoring game and not a shootout. So that's kind of how I'm putting my parlay together. But again, use this SGP tab. Also come over here to the Stacks tab. You can see the game logs. One of the things I like about Derrick Henry is you can see here they've got a good O-line. They're 14th in runs of 5 to 10 yards. And they are 8th in runs of 10-plus yards. And then you can see the Packers have the terrible D-line. They're 28th in allowing runs of 5 to 10 yards. And they are 20th in allowing runs of 10-plus yards. And they're giving up 4 yards per carry. And you come down here under yards allowed, and you can see they are allowing the 21st most rushing yards per game at 143. And Henry's the primary guy. So he probably has a ceiling of 143 yards tonight, so I am going to take over 80. But again, play with this, have some fun, guys. I tried to get this video in under 15 minutes, and we're at 14 and a half, so good luck.